I'd sure like to fist him.
Well, there goes my claim that this show is sexless.
Hello human people, it's Vienna, and welcome to Queerly Read, where my videos get postponed because of continuing health issues. But finally, I can get to talking more about Masters of the Universe, because there's certainly some parts that are arousing of thought. And unlike last time, we aren't just talking about Prince Adam. Instead, we're talking about family and how it can be used for both good and evil. And even though this video is a bit late, spoilers ahead.
Family is definitely one of the main themes of this season.
The concept of family has been a pretty hotly debated topic in feminist and queer discourses and in queer communities for quite a while now. For example, it has birthed the idea of found or chosen family, although I know of at least one queer scholar who has said that maybe we should distance ourselves from the idea and word of family altogether. This is because the hegemonic idea of family is at the center of how a heteronormative society reproduces itself.
And not just in the sense that it's supposed to make these. A heteronormative family is in the end supposed to make heteronormative families. By instilling heteronormative values to children and raising children as their parents' continuation, i.e. making them good heterosexuals, the family unit reproduces would-be heteronormative parents and the cycle repeats. All the while using so much energy to do this and also claiming it's purely natural. Or that's the idea at least.
There's actually quite a few families, or at least family-like units, in season 1 of Masters of the Universe. We got Adam and his parents,
who are having a tough time right now.
Evelyn and Skeletor,
who really need couples counseling or something.
Teela and the sorceress.
And I guess Duncan is there too.
And Andra, who finds a new family with Adam, Teela and others, but I guess she's actually pretty alright.
But these aren't just reproduction units to create new families, because embedded in this theme of family is the theme of cycle breaking.
Almost all of these families break some kind of a cycle.
Except Andra, because Andra is just doing great.
And discover new and better ways of existing as a result.
Evelyn dumps Skeletor's abusive ass and turns into a buff goddess. Just thought I'd mention that. For reasons. Teela finds a balance between sacrificing for the community and living her own life. Très feminist. And of course we got Adam, who gets accepted by his daddy dearest.
And I was so blind to the man you already are.
I want to highlight this a bit because I think it demonstrates how heteronormativity is distinct, although related to heterosexuality.
Although King What's-His-Name represents a more traditional kind of masculinity.
Come kiss the ring!
And his position literally makes him a symbol of traditional power structures. From a queer point of view, his acceptance of Adam and his kind of masculinity in part breaks the cycle of heteronormative self-reproduction.
And that's the big difference. Heterosexuality doesn't need to reproduce itself at the cost of others, but heteronormativity does.
But since we're talking about a He-Man property, let's talk a bit more about Adam, because he breaks far more than just family cycles. In my first video on Masters of the Universe, I briefly mentioned the privilege that his He-Man form brings, but it seems that part 2 is banking hard on that angle.
The power that He-Man has is kinda comparable to the power cis men have in society. You know, that male privilege thing. Even though I read Adam as a gender non-conforming man in my first video, he can still opt in on his male privilege by turning into He-Man.
The best comparison here is to a gay cis man using his position in society as a man to improve the lives of a greater whole, even though Adam isn't gay by the looks of it.
This power is of course always available to him, and he could abuse it like Skeletor. But as Duncan says,
he had all the power of the universe at his fingertips, but he only chose to call it down when someone else needed it.
This is similar to strategic uses of one's male privilege to further community-oriented goals that help people who don't have the same privilege. Which is also why Adam rejects his rivalry with Skeletor.
It's not about us!
Skeletor, having the power is all about his personal mastery over others and gaining even more power to prove he is a bigger boy than He-Man. Gee, that kinda sounds like amassing ridiculous amounts of wealth just to amass even more wealth and measuring your dick with other rich people.
I think Adam's rejection of the Skeletor-He-Man rivalry is one of the best things in this new show. It shows that he's trying to use his powers for something actually productive and not just a personal squabble. And it works with his other established themes as well.
One thing Adam's been saying throughout the series is that he is not He-Man. This is a problem for Skeletor because he really wants to kill He-Man, and Adam is not that.
I mean, you're barely a man.
Basically, he's looking for someone he sees as manly enough to test himself against.
Skeletor needs He-Man to fight so that he can prove his power and through that, his masculinity. And that's the big difference between them. Skeletor needs to endlessly prove himself through someone else, whereas Adam already knows who he is. And that's why Skeletor can't win.
Essentially, Skeletor needs to reproduce his own masculinity constantly in an endless dick measuring contest. While Adam has realized that the only way to win at traditional masculinity is not to play at all. Instead, he and his friends have opted to find new ways of existence, like the good queer beings they are.
And those were my second thoughts on Masters of the Universe, at least for now. What I've liked about doing these two videos and what I didn't expect is that it has given me a way to talk about how there's queerness in straightness and how heteronormativity does not equal to straightness. And it's not like it's a new idea for me, but it's something that this show enabled me to discuss.
That's what's so great about doing queer readings to me. You can clarify thoughts about real-life phenomena and identities using fiction as an example.
Which is why I'll see you next time.